The gunshot came before she could think. 1 second, Lena was balancing a tray of coffee in the small roadside café, worrying about tips and rent, and the next second she saw the boy freeze in fear as a masked man raised his weapon. Her body moved on instinct, not courage. She dropped the tray and threw herself forward, the sound of the bullet tearing through the air mixing with screams. Pain exploded in her chest, then everything went dark. Lena woke up to silence that felt too heavy for a hospital. When she opened her eyes, she expected white walls and the smell of antiseptic. Instead, she saw silk curtains, soft golden light, and a man sitting beside the bed whose presence filled the room without him saying a word. He was tall, dark-eyed, dressed in an immaculate suit, his expression unreadable. Her first thought was that she had died, and this was some strange afterlife. Her second thought came when he spoke her name low and steady and told her she was safe now. Then he said the words that shattered her sense of reality. "You are my wife." Panic surged through her injured body. Lena tried to sit up, only to be stopped by pain and gentle but firm hands. The man introduced himself as Marco De Luca, a name she somehow recognized from whispers and news headlines. A powerful mafia boss. According to him, the boy she had saved was his nephew. The shooting had been an attempted hit meant for the child. Lena's act of bravery had disrupted plans that could have destroyed his family. To protect her from retaliation, Marco had made a decision that changed both their lives. He married her while she was unconscious. Anger and confusion battled inside her. Lena was a waitress who lived paycheck to paycheck, who avoided trouble and barely trusted men who smiled too easily. She accused him of stealing her choice, her future. Marco didn't deny it. He told her the truth without excuses. The world he lived in was dangerous, and her face was already known. Marriage gave her his protection, his name, and his enemy's hesitation. It was the only way he knew to keep her alive. His honesty didn't erase her fear, but it planted the first seed of understanding. Recovery was slow and painful. Lena had nightmares of the gunshot, of falling again and again. She struggled with the luxury surrounding her, feeling like an imposter in a mansion guarded by men with cold eyes and hidden weapons. The staff treated her with respect, but also with curiosity. She missed the simplicity of her old life, even the exhaustion. Marco, despite his power, surprised her by being patient. He visited her every evening, never touching her without permission, answering her questions no matter how uncomfortable they were. The challenges didn't stop at healing. Lena soon realized being married to Marco meant living under constant threat. Rival families tested boundaries. Rumors spread that she was a weakness. Once a threatening message arrived with a single red rose meant to scare her. She broke down that night, telling Marco she couldn't live like this, always afraid. For the first time, his calm mask cracked. He admitted that fear had been his companion since childhood, and that her bravery had reminded him what it meant to protect instead of destroy. Their marriage was a battlefield of emotions. Lena struggled with guilt, wondering if saving the boy had ruined her own life. Marco struggled with control, learning to let her make choices even when it terrified him. They argued about her wanting to leave the house, about her insisting on volunteering at a children's hospital despite the risks. Each argument ended not in shouting, but in hard conversations that forced them to confront who they were and who they wanted to become. The biggest test came when Lena was targeted directly. An ambush on the road left their car riddled with bullets, but they escaped. Shaken and furious, Marco prepared for violent retaliation. Lena stopped him. She reminded him that violence had started this chain, and it would never end if he didn't break it. Her words carried weight because she had already paid the price of violence with her own blood. That night, Marco made a choice that shocked his world. He began dismantling parts of his criminal empire, turning power into legitimate businesses, earning new enemies but fewer graves. Trust grew slowly, like a wound healing from the inside out. Lena saw Marco's softer side when he visited the boy she had saved, bringing toys and sitting quietly at his bedside. Marco saw Lena's strength when she faced fear without letting it define her. Love didn't arrive dramatically. It arrived in shared meals, in late-night talks, in the simple comfort of knowing someone would be there when the nightmares came. Years later, Lena stood in the same café where her life had changed, now reopened under new ownership, supporting families who needed honest work. Marco stood beside her, no longer just a feared name, but a man who had learned accountability. Their story was still complicated, still imperfect, but it was theirs by choice now, not force. Lena often thought about that moment before the gunshot, how one decision made without thinking had reshaped everything. She learned that bravery doesn't end when the danger passes. It continues in forgiveness, in growth, in choosing hope over fear every single day. And Marco learned that real power isn't taken at gunpoint. It's earned through protecting life, not threatening it. Together, they became living proof that even the darkest paths can lead to light when someone is brave enough to step in front of the bullet.